Hello and welcome to my video on the Taurus new moon. My name is Bryan Colter. I'm an evolutionary astrologer, and here is my take on what is going on in the sky. I'm recording and releasing this video on May 7th, the very day of the Taurus new moon, so I usually like to do this a few days before. I'm sorry for the late delivery. I had really bad neck and back spasms for the last few days, so basically I've been stuck in bed for a while, and here I am, better late than never. And although the event happens very, very soon, just in a few hours, this applies really over the next 3 or 4 days, especially during the entirety of the new moon phase, but then really 2 weeks out until the end of Taurus season, because the sun is in Taurus right now. I'm going to be talking so much about Taurus because that is by far the dominant energy that we're experiencing now. So this will be useful for really the next couple of weeks. With that being said, let's go ahead and look at the chart. So as you can see here right away, most of the planets are in one small section of the sky running across the signs of Pisces, Aries, and Taurus. And we got 10 things we're calling planets here. 5 of those 10 planets are all squished into that one sign of Taurus. So much Taurus energy. And what makes this even stronger is the fact that Venus is said to be the planet that rules Taurus. And here she is in her own sign right next to this new moon to boot. So, this is really juiced. And of course, our understanding in how Taurus cooperates with, or maybe has some friction with, the energies of Aries and Pisces is what we're attempting to accomplish here. I want to talk more big picture here for a moment and discuss easily the biggest event going on right now, which is the Uranus-Jupiter conjunction. I've been banging this drum for the last few videos, so I'll be brief here. But it is important to mention it right out the get-go because it is the most powerful event. Now, this was at its peak power back in April 20th when they were both at about 22 degrees of Taurus. As you can see, Jupiter has gone a little bit beyond. The conjunction is separating, but it'll be very, very strong until about middle to late May. So we still want to stay focused on this core evolutionary intention with Uranus-Jupiter, which is basically they're both future oriented. I mean, these planets are very, very different from each other, but that's really where they get along, is they both want to create a more optimistic, beneficial, expansive, freedom-based future that we want to co-create. So one way I've been recommending to work with this is to create a big, bold vision, not only for your own life, but really for the world. Because, Uranus and Jupiter are in the sign of Taurus, the sign of the world, if you will, because it's the sign of nature, the sign of Mother Earth. So creating this big, bold vision for what is a new Earth that we can co-create together. Let's first juggle some archetypes here. So Pisces and Neptune are both associated with the mystic. This is strong mystical energy here. And then you have Aries the warrior and Mars the war god. Okay, so strong warrior energy. And then we have Taurus the bull. So the mystic, the warrior, and the bull. And how these plug and play with each other. Let's first describe them negatively. Not to be negative, but we always want to keep our eye on the shadow. Taurus shadow sides could be stubbornness, could be denial, could be lassitude, could be a lot of different things. Stubbornness is the one that's talked about the most, deriving from the fact that it's a fixed sign. So sometimes people with strong Taurus energies can kind of just, once they dig their heels into something, it's like, I'm not going anywhere, which can be a good thing too. But also stubbornness can get us into trouble if we have this stubborn refusal to adapt in a situation where it may be better to adapt. That's how Taurus can get into trouble. And the dark side of the warrior would be fear, anger, rage, violence, war, pride, impulsivity sometimes. And this is more of a stress-based energy. And to have Mars, the war god, in its own sign of the warrior while we have 2 hot wars going on, 2 really big wars, that can be a little scary. This is how this more stress-based, aggressive energy can get us into trouble when it's coupled with Taurus stubbornness. It's like, okay, I'm angry about something. I'm going to take this action because warrior and fire energy in general is about taking action. And then I have this idea and I'm going to be fixed on it. I'm going to be Taurus. I'm going to be stubborn on it. I'm just going to go for the gusto, no matter how destructive that idea or that intention may be. Now, one of the shadow sides or major challenges with Pisces energy, especially with Saturn in Pisces, because Saturn represents that which is real, that which concretizes, that which is tangible. Meanwhile, Pisces is that which is subjective and emotional and etheric. It is very much on those higher dimensions of reality, if you will. And, part of the challenge of Pisces can be trying to distinguish, okay, is this real or is this not real? So that's a major challenge between Saturn, when Saturn's in Pisces, and it can create a lot of confusion. So confusion is a challenge with these set of energies. Escapism is another challenge. Also deception. So mirages, things like this. Disillusionment. So when you have this more illusory energy of this, Neptune in Pisces, not being able to distinguish if it's real. Also the just flat out dark side of this, which would be deception. So people might have deceptive ideas that they're very militant about or warrior-like, and even if they know it's a deception, it's like they may think they need to play out this lie for the greater good because they're on this warrior path, or you could see how these energies can get us into trouble. So illusion, deception, dishonesty, anger, aggression, warlike behavior, stress-based energy, and then really getting your heels stuck in the mud through the stubbornness. It's like, no, I must stay attached to this fixed idea. So these are energies where if you see them manifest themselves in people groups of people, even countries, it's like, okay, we can see how they're stumbling here with these energies. But where I like to focus most of my attention through the lens of evolutionary astrology is how can I use these energies for my own betterment and evolution, and how can I use them on a more personal level? And we already introduced the primary one, which is creating a big, bold vision for yourself and envisioning an abstract day, 5 or 10 years in the future, and visualizing that day start to finish. And do that exercise, once a day for a while, so that can really be ingrained in your subconscious mind as a habit pattern. Because once it is, it will start to function underneath the radar of conscious awareness and really start to bring you towards that new future you want to create for yourself, as well as change the synchronistic field around you to where you synchronistically start to attract to yourself experiences that guide you along that vision that you created for yourself. So again, that is really the most precious thing here. Now, going deeper, I think everything's about frequency and vibration. And these planets represent vibratory patterns. And when you think about states of consciousness that are very healthy to experience with all this Taurus energy, is to think about that archetype as an entry point, the bull. Now, I don't want you to think of the ferocity of the bull. The Spanish bullfight has given us a distorted view of the bull. It's just a male cow. It's a very peaceful creature. And in fact, Taurus links to the animal kingdom or the animal spirit. So it associates with any animal, not just the bull, just nature in general. Now, for those of us in the northern hemisphere, it is spring, and it's beautiful. The sun came out today. It's been raining for a while here in Portugal, so it was very nice being outside today. And just imagine you're out there on a hot spring day at a healthy pasture, and you're just watching the cows be cows, and they're just munching away on the grass. And as you're watching these cows be cows, and if you imagine that you're doing that, how would you begin to feel? Earthy, grounded, peaceful. And Venus is actually known as the goddess of peace and serenity, and here she is in the sign of Taurus, the silent one. So it's about creating that silence inside. And to do Taurus-like activities, like, for example, watching cows be cows, that's a very Taurus-like activity, with the end goal being, how can I create more of the frequency of Taurus in my own spirit, which is that of calm. Healthy Taurus is grounded and stable and serene inside. So how can I create more serenity, Taurus style? Well, getting out into nature is, in my opinion, the most powerful way of working with Taurus. Going out on a hike, listening to the birds chirp on your walk. But as we contemplate the energy of Taurus this month, it does have that present tense orientation. Breathe in, breathe out, be comfortable in the body. It's also known as the sign of the musician. If you listen to music, that can pull us into that present moment. That can pull us into that silence that can hear and creates that silence inside as well. Or even playing music, as you get lost in the tones and harmonies and rhythms, you get pulled into that moment and you become the listening that can hear. Taurus is the most sensual of all the signs, which just means of the five senses. I don't mean sexual, although that's part of Taurus too, because it is in the body, but it's doing Taurus activities that stimulate an inner calm and serenity by living through the five senses, returning to the body. Breathe in, breathe out. So going out into nature is one way of doing a Taurus activity to stimulate that inner calm. So is getting or giving a massage, just through the mysteries of touch, getting into the ocean for a swim. It's very simple things. Taurus is not a complex sign. It's the art form of simplicity. And remembering that happiness in its very roots is actually a very simple thing. And it's something we can cultivate moment by moment through these more Taurus actions that I'm talking about here. So it's about, is there some activities that I can do in my life that will help to stimulate that feeling of groundedness and peacefulness within? Now, Aries is fundamentally about action. All fire signs are about action. So an evolutionary question you can ask yourself is, are there some actions I can take, some daily actions that can feed the frequency of Taurus within myself, can feed that groundedness? So coming up with an idea and then actually taking action in that direction. And this has strong builder energy, because once Aries decides to do something, it goes. And Taurus likes to get its hands dirty, likes to work the wood or fabric or clay. So I love the idea of doing a weekend project or something like that, where you could see something you've built. You can take the warrior action to see something you've built. And by the end of the day, there's a grounded feeling in that accomplishment. Also, another way these energies can play is something I didn't mention, this is a lot of creative energy. Venus is also the goddess of the arts in her own sign, the sign of the musician. And this just, connects to arts more broadly. It doesn't have to be music, but this is strong creative energy. Meanwhile, Pisces, yes, it's the mystic, but it's also the visionary. It has strong creative energy as well. So taking action, Aries, Mars, in directions where I can practice vulnerability through self-expression. Now, if there is a way that you can creatively express yourself that in your heart of hearts you would like to do, and perhaps you've had some resistance or fear about doing it, this is the perfect time to do it, because Aries and Mars is about facing one's fear, to develop courage regarding what? Well, the rest of the symbols do point to, at least on one level, artistic expression. Taurus does tend to relate to more body-centered forms of creativity, but it doesn't narrowly connect to that. But, like dancing, music, getting the body in the idea of living, bodily engagement, so creative expression through the body. A lot of people have fears and resistances towards letting themselves loose on the dance floor, for example. So that's a perfect metaphor for a very powerful way of working with these energies. How can I break through some creative blocks of fear so that I can more spontaneously express myself in this healthy body-centered way? Aries plus Taurus. And then lastly, we have the mystic. A powerful way of working with the mystic archetype is to basically develop spiritually, and there's many ways to develop spiritually. Most of you know I'm a huge fan of meditation. So I custom made a meditation for this specific set of energies, which is a meditation focused on world peace. And I just released this meditation on my other YouTube channel. It's called Meditation Nexus. I'll put a link below in the show description. I'll probably pin it in the comment section as well. The world peace meditation, especially with the wars going on and the amount of suffering on this planet right now, in my opinion, is the most powerful way of working with this Taurus energy, Pisces style, through meditation. So yeah, there's definitely some stressed energy here. I mean, when Aries and Mars interacts with Taurus, there can be that stubborn aggression energy. But if we can just take a step back, realize that stress-based energy is happening and saying, no, I'm not going to go there. I'm going to remain grounded, earthy, peaceful, and to apply myself through various meditative states to experience that frequency within as purely and profoundly as I possibly can, and then allow that energy to ripple out into the world around you. These are the core evolutionary intentions, with the goal being to expand our consciousness. Thank you.